Here are 15 of the best Ask Reddit stories for today. I hope you enjoy and remember to subscribe. It really helps us out. We post new videos every day.
What's a quote that permanently changed the way you look at things? Let go or be dragged, an old Zen proverb I heard at a meditation class. Really changed the way I let myself worry about things. Do you listen or just wait to speak? I had a professor in college, he called it the 10-90 rule. Life is 10 what happens to you and 90 how you react to it. Changed my life. Edit. Thank you for the award. I hope this helped at least one person. It's honestly so simple, we can all do it every day. It really changes your perspective when you put it into use. Honesty without kindness is brutality. Kindness without honesty is manipulation. If you wouldn't take advice from them, why would you take criticism? Some dude on YouTube. I just never thought of it that way before, and I stopped spending so much energy trying to get people to like me. Luck favors the prepared. No one raindrop thinks it causes the flood. What are you still salty about? In a 5th grade science test the question was, are there any stars in the solar system? I answered, yes. Teacher marked it wrong. I went up afterwards and said, what about the sun? He said, he meant that all the other stars are not in our solar system and kept it marked wrong. Although I am harboring this for 50 years now, he was all around one of the best teachers I ever had and just passed away a week or so ago. But damn, that should have been marked right. When I was in high school, someone tagged up the school. They announced there would be a reward for anyone who rats anyone out. I get called in the office and find out I'm suspended for vandalization. I didn't do it and had no idea who. 4 days later I'm allowed to come back to school because they found who actually did it. I just got an apology. What's a really cheap item you can buy that can make you look incredibly rich? I have a family member who always asks for empties of fancy bottles of alcohol and then just refills them with the cheap stuff. You'd be impressed if you look at his bar. But it's all a sham. Not exactly an item, but travel. Americans grossly overestimate the cost of international travel and think you have tons of money because of it. I just spent a few days in a Scandinavian capital. Direct flight from NYC was less than $300, and hostel bed was less than $20. Most Americans spend far more than that traveling to Miami or Vegas or what have you. Yet who and awe and comment on my finances when they see where I go. Laugh in 3 bursts. A butter cookie tin that has the actual cookies and not sewing materials. Just call everyone old sport. What is the most interesting statistic you know? The Statue of Liberty wears a size 879 sandal. The most aggressive drivers on the road are females in their 20s. Source AAA Actuary. There are more than 7,000 islands in the Philippines. 2/3 of the Australian population will develop skin cancer at some point of their lives. Even in the 2022 Kentucky Derby, 1922 entered horses can trace lineage to Secretariat. Human women are the only living things on Earth with permanent breasts. Only mammals have breasts at all, and no other mammal has them developed other than surrounding pregnancy and weaning. This is why you never see a cow, dog, lioness or whatever with an udder or breasts but without children, cubs, whatever. While we're on the subject, Google elephant breasts, and have a laugh. We collectively receive about 2.4 billion robocalls per month. What's one of life's biggest traps that people fall into? You gotta be your own advocate. If you think other people will fix the problems you have, you're gonna have a bad time. Thinking too much of what others think of them or how they are perceived. I think this goes along with self-esteem, but I started feeling a lot better about myself when I let go of the fear of judgment. Thinking that you're running out of time to do something because someone else has done it already. Never letting go of the past, that can kill you, I swear. Marrying or living with or otherwise committing to someone who is mean to you and doesn't treat you well. Sunk cost fallacy. Lifestyle creep. Feeling the need to upgrade cars, houses, jewelry, etc. to keep up with your peers. Doing nothing because of fear of rejection. Just because you have spare money at the end of the month doesn't mean you need to spend it.
Walked in on my loving wife hanging an affair while kids sleep upstairs. For the past several weeks I have been working late nights in the office so I can finish work early so I can have breakfast with the kids and do the school runs. Tonight the boss let me finish halfway though my shift due to the amount of work I have put in on a project that now completed. On the drive home I was looking forward to us time with the little ones in bed. Well, I walked into my wife having banged some man on the sofa. Deer in headlight moment. I grabbed my keys and now I am in the office wondering what I'm going to do now. My phone is blowing up with calls and texts from my wife telling me to come back so she can explain. I just can't. I am so off right now. Never thought she would cheat on me. We have been happily married for over a decade. Sure, we have had our arguments over the years, but what married couple hasn't? Given her everything she asked for along 3 beautiful kids.
Bartenders, what is the smoothest pickup line you've ever heard? Sort of an anti-pickup line, but I witnessed a drunk girl get decimated at the bar one night. She was hot, and one of those haha you're cute you should buy me a drink type girls. Some dumpy looking dude walks up to the bar and orders a Corona and she pulls the hole and put a rum and coke on there for me, insinuating that he should buy her next drink. He looked at her casually and says make it a rum and diet, and then just walks away. I was speechless. I would never seen him before and haven't seen him since. Sometimes I wonder if he ever existed at all. I can hear my neighbor talk to his cat. Every day when my neighbor comes home from work, he unlocks his door and says, "Hello Kevin," and Kevin the cat meows back in greeting. Our apartment building is small, and I can hear nearly everything that happens in the communal hallways and my living room. I don't know my neighbor at all, not even his name, but I know his cat. My neighbor also likes to smoke a lot of weed. No shame, I like to indulge too, just not every day. I work from home and live alone, but hearing, "Hello Kevin," has become a part of my routine. It makes me smile every time. Yesterday, I heard the normal, "Hello Kevin," greeting and Kevin's meow. I later smelled the blunt he smoked. Then I heard him go into the laundry room and come back. But then, I heard something odd. Kevin's meowing was super loud and he sounded pissed. I waited a little while, but Kevin persisted. I opened up my door and saw Kevin outside the neighbor's door. He was practically screaming and jumping up to hit the door with his little paws. Inside the apartment, I heard my neighbor echoing Kevin's cries. My neighbor sounded frantic and desperate, calling, "Kevin?" over and over again. I walked up to the door and knocked. I heard my neighbor pause, then quietly, with amazement and perhaps fear, repeat, "Kevin?" At last minute, I decided to dart back into my apartment and softly close the door, listening while my neighbor let Kevin in. He whispered, "How did you do that, Kevin?" I've been laughing to myself about it since it happened, imagining my stoned out of his mind neighbor contemplating how his cat human knocked on his door.
Men of Reddit, what is some of the guy code things that girls probably do not know about?
We need guy time. We don't want you to hang out with us every time we're doing something. If I don't make fun of you, we're not really friends. If I don't text you back, then I'm not mad at you or playing any mind game bullshit. I've probably forgot about the text because I'm playing video games. All guys act a little bit gay when with their friends. If we are talking about a friend behind their back, chances are they know what we are saying about them because we also say it to their face. And you have to buy a drink for one of your friends when at a bar. You do not date your best friend's ex-girlfriend, even if they say they'd be okay with it. You simply do not do it, it will destroy your friendship. If your best friend dies, you delete their internet history. If you're in a conversation where girls are talking about one of your friends, not even close, and you know he likes one of them or one of their friends, you drop good bombs, basically subtly mention good things about him in a non-bromance way.
You lose your virginity. I was at my friend's place when I was 16. We were chilling by the pool when he randomly got ill. He left to go crash in his room but told me I could keep swimming in his pool. So I'm there in his pool when his really attractive older sister jumps in the pool with me. We're splashing each other and laughing and having a good time, but then she gets out, dries off and goes back into the house. I'm still chilling in the pool when their father comes out complaining about how hot it is that day and takes off his shirt. We talk for a little bit about future plans and hobbies and stuff when he gets a call on his cell and excuses himself to go answer it. At this point I decide that's enough pool for today, so I get out, dry myself off and put on my clothes when all of a sudden, the neighbor's golden retriever runs into the yard. I see a tennis ball, so I start to play fetch with him. After a while, the elderly neighbor comes by to get the dog back, saying she didn't know how he got out. She thanks me for catching him and I decide to go home. Long story short, I lose my virginity 3 years later in a drunken one-night stand.
17. Parents make me hang out with my cousin Billy. He's annoying as hell, but I have to put up with him. Go to local mall, boring, just wandering around wasting time. See a group of girls, group of 3, fe.jpg, 1 fat chick, 2 hot chicks, fat chick leaves, fe again.jpg, we both like the same girl. Cousin eases off and lets me go for it. Girl's name is Jean, get her number, be friends for 1 year, end up liking her more as a friend, but she always seems interested in me. I thought cousin might still like her, but he never said anything, until one day, cousin comes to me one day and asks my permission to ask her out. Of course I tell him it's okay. Cousin asks out Jean. She rejects him and tells him she's madly in love with me. Cousin gets mad, tells her how I'm not interested, so she's wasting her time. Then she tells him she's pregnant, and the baby is mine. What the f.png? Billy comes over to my house. He demands explanation. I'm as confused as he is, no idea what Jean is talking about. He starts getting angry, accuses me of lying about sleeping with her, says about I'm a bad cousin, etc. Try to explain it to my cousin.
So my girl almost died 3 fucking times in my apocalypse dream cause she don't fucking listen. Now I'm irritated. The male version of you cheated in my dream.
What is the pettiest thing you have done after a breakup? Was in a relationship for 2 years, 2 years too long. He was an abusive alcoholic that was lovingly manipulative when sober. Broke up with him after having to call the police on him after a rather rough night. 2 weeks later and I'm staying strong, telling him he has to be sober for at least a year before I would ever consider giving him another chance. For the first time I stuck to my no, which was new for him and he very much so did not like it. Him then spilling that he had been cheating on me for 2 months anyways with a girl he had sworn he was just friends with. 2 months later I'm going through a junk drawer of mine and I found I still had his spare car key. I am not an angry person day to day and I honestly don't even wish anything bad towards him. I did however move his car 2 blocks every morning for a week, and on the last day, after what I'm sure was a week of being late to work and feeling on the verge of insanity, I left his car where he had parked it. I did also though turn the volume to max and move everything movable slightly. Do I think it was healthy? Not really, but it did fucking feel great.
Just curious, how do you and my man know each other? Who's your man? Josh. Oh, I don't know him like that girl. Did he message you? I don't think so. Oh okay, I just saw y'all follow each other last night. Babe, you are too freaking beautiful to ever have to worry about your man reaching out to other women. Thank you. It's cause I cheated, so I wanted to know if he was getting even or whatnot.
How did your affair start? My husband's affair started shortly after we got married. We lived in an apartment complex and all the mailboxes were in the lobby area. I checked the mail while he was at work, like I always did. I opened a card, not paying attention to who it was addressed to, but the front of the card read, "I miss you in the morning, I miss you in the evening," and the inside of the card read, "But I especially miss you at night." And there was a drawing of a woman in bed wearing a negligee, and it was signed, "I miss you and love you," with a woman's name. So I looked at the envelope and it was addressed to my husband. We had only been married 3 months. So I immediately gathered all of his items and threw them into the hallway. He came home and tried to come into the door, but I had the chain lock on it. He was like, "What the hell is going on?" I said, "Your girlfriend misses you, so we're over and you can go stay with her," and I opened the door wide enough to throw the card and envelope into the hall. About 15 minutes later, there is a knock at my door. It's my next door neighbor. I had seen him around but we hadn't made formal introductions yet. I open the door and my husband is standing down the hallway. The neighbor says, "Hi, my name is, you accidentally got my mail today." My neighbor had the exact first and last name as my husband. He said, "My wife has been out of town on a business trip. She sent the card to me." I said, "Bullshit," and shut the door on him. 5 minutes later, there's another knock at my door. I look to see my next door neighbor again, but this time he's holding up his driver's license and the card envelope. His license shows he has the exact name as my husband, and the card envelope has their apartment number on it. At the time, it was pretty fucking traumatic, but now, 31 years later, my husband thinks it's absolutely hilarious.
I've been living as my dead twin sibling for many years. I am an identical twin, and in this post, we'll call my twin Jay. When we were 8 years old, Jay and I got the idea from a library book to swap roles. I went to Jay's classroom and they went to mine, and we even had our parents convinced by swapping clothes, bunk beds, and certain mannerisms. It became a game to see how long we could keep it going. Both parents were pretty disengaged, an alcoholic father who was gone a lot for business and a mother who cared about superficial appearances but didn't have much real relationship with her children. I've heard that parents never confuse their twins, but it wasn't hard to fool ours. After a couple of weeks I was getting pretty good at pretending to be Jay while they were pretending to be me. Then there was an accident one evening. Jay, dressed as me, was struck and hit by a pickup truck while riding their bicycle on a back street in our neighborhood. Didn't know until later because I was at a neighbor friend's house. My friend's parent kept me at their house until my mother got home from the hospital. I went down the hall and crawled into my own bed. My mother came in and screamed at me to get back in my own bed, because she thought I was Jay. The next day, I overheard her tell my aunt that it was a small mercy, at least, that I died instead of Jay. She said that she knew it wasn't good to speak ill of the dead, but that Jay was the better child, brighter, more obedient, and with better prospects in the world. She repeated something similar to a neighbor. I didn't know how to tell her or my teachers or classmates that I wasn't Jay. I couldn't find the words and lost my breath and got sick at my stomach every time I tried. So well, never did. I went to my own funeral and there is a marker in a cemetery with my name on it. I went through childhood as Jay. I used Jay's documents as I became an adult. For all the world knows, I'm Jay. But I'm not.